Yesterday we had started with the poem The Trees with an introduction of the poet Adriana Rich. Then we had discussed a brief outline of the poem that had also indicated the real message or the theme of the poem. That the poem expresses a conflict between man and nature. Man continuously, for his greed, harms the nature by clearing the forest of the trees, making the forest empty, treeless, without realizing that man would have to pay the price for this destruction in future. But it is not so easy to uproot or destroy the nature. The nature struggles to free itself from the confines of the man. Just as, for example, the poet has taken example that the people, they uproot the trees from the forest, but plant the trees at their home for decoration, thus giving it a false forest. But the plants cannot grow there permanently. They try to escape from the concrete walls, the concrete boundaries of the houses. Now these trees and forests, they are symbolic of the women. Through the medium of forests and the trees, the poet has tried to convey that the woman is also confined into the four walls of the house, and she is also struggling to come out of her shells to get her freedom, and thus prove to the world that she is not merely a woman behind the wall, but she also has an identity. She can also contribute to the society. And in this way, she wants to bring a change in the society, right? Then we had taken up the first stanza. I'll just give synopsis of the first stanza. In the first stanza, the poet has expressed, as the poet is observing, that the trees which have been planted indoors, how they are trying to move out, how they are trying to escape, to go to the natural forest, because natural forest is their natural habitat. This is where actually they want to live. So how they escape, how they are trying to escape, how the poet knows that they are trying to escape, when their branches are spreading, their leaves are spreading, their roots are spreading. They do not get the space, then they make cracks in the walls. They make cracks in the pots and the pans where they are growing. And thus they get a passage to move through. So this continuous effort of the leaves and the roots makes the poet hopeful that the forest, which has become treeless, would be bloomed with the trees one day. Again, it is just a parallel to or symbolic of women's struggle for freedom, that the women are making continuous efforts to get freedom, to get their rights, and their continuous efforts would definitely bring result, and tomorrow they would be an honored and respectable citizens of the society, enjoying all the rights and freedoms which the men are enjoying, right? Then we have taken up the second stanza. In the second stanza, the poet's observation is that how there are cracks in the pots and the pans. These cracks in the pots and the pans, they are suggestive of, they are an evidence of the effort made by the roots and the plants. That how they make continuous effort. The roots are spreading, they do not get the space to spread. So what they do, they force themselves to move out. As a result, the pots and the pans, they break. Similarly, the plants which have been put up near the glass windows, They try to bend towards the glass as if they are trying to break the glass so that they could escape. So what here it means that every effort they are making to escape from the man's habitat, from the man's confinement. They don't want to live in the man's confinement. They want to live in their natural habitat. You see that the pets that we keep pets, right? When we keep pets and more, we chain them. And the day you unchain your pet would be so happy. It would be very difficult to control. A bird you have put in a cage, but little you open the gate of the cage and you will find that within the blink of an eye, the bird would fly out of that cage. So when these birds, these trees, these plants, they love freedom, they make an effort to get the freedom, then why not the women? So the women are also leaving no stone unturned to get their freedom, right? Yes. Now here is the third stanza. In the third stanza, the poet says, I sit inside, doors open to the veranda, writing long letters in which I scarcely mention the departure of the forest from the house. The night is fresh, the whole moon shines in a sky still open. The smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms. Yes, the poet is in a reflective mood. The poet says, I sit inside. Of course, inside her house. She is sitting inside, observing the plants, thinking about them, and she is sitting in the veranda where the door has been left open. She is writing long letters, but in which I scarcely mention. She is writing long letters to someone, but she hardly mentions. She does not describe what? The departure of the forest from the house. She does not mention, she does not describe how the leaves from the interior of her house are trying to move out to the natural forest. Now, why do you think that she does not mention it? Why do you think that she does not? She is observing all these things, but when she is writing to someone, she would narrate each and everything, but she is not mentioning the movement of the leaves, the effort of the leaves. Why do you think she would do so?
Ma'am, because we have made a small forest in our house.
Okay, anything else? Just think over, please.
And the forests are deforested.
See what it is. Why she does not mention, she is a human being, right? This is what she is trying to convey to you. She is a human being, and humans do not give any importance to the plants and the trees. She is happy to keep them inside the four walls of the house because they make the house look decorated, right? She is observing the movement, she is observing the development, but she does not consider it important to share with others, right? She does not recognize. When she does not mention, meaning she does not recognize. She does not recognize the importance of the plants. And I think why she said that why she is trying to convey, in fact, actually she is generalizing the humans. All the humans, they do not do so. Some humans, those who are plant lovers, they do not do so. So here, the poet means to say, when the poet says that she did not mention, she is actually expressing the concern of the humans towards environment, towards forest, towards trees and plants. In general, What she means to say, in general, the man does not give any importance to the trees or the forests or the plants. I hope it is clear, this line.
Yes, ma'am.
You can be given the particular line, like you can be told to explain, in which I scarcely mention the departure. Or you can be asked a question, why she does not mention the departure of the forest. Then you can say she is a human, she is representing the humans, and this expresses that humans consider no importance of the forest or the plants, right? The night is fresh. She would describe that the night is fresh, night is clear. Night is fresh, night is clear. Why? Because the sky is clear. How do we know that the sky is clear? The whole moon shines in a sky still open, because it is a full moon night. It's a full moon night. Full moon is shining in the sky, which suggests that the night is very clear, as the sky is clear with full moon. The smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms. The poet can smell the odor, the fragrance of the leaves inside the house. The poet can smell the odor of lichen. Lichen, you know what is lichen? Here I have taken a picture in the background. You see this background picture? This is a tree trunk, right?
Yes.
On the tree trunk, do you see these green patches?
Yes, ma'am.
These green patches are not grass or the leaves. They are the type of fungus or algae, you can say. I
Yes.
think in your general science you must have read. Have you read?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So it's that called lichen. Lichen smells. Lichen smells. Nowadays it is humid weather. If you just go out, and you will find in the pots and pans and even on the ground also some white patches you will find in the soil. They are lichens, right? And the smell. So she can smell the odor of leaves and lichens. And this smell is reaching her just like a voice into the rooms. Now she compares the smell of leaves with the voice that you hear from the other rooms. Now look here, how it is like a voice into the rooms. Again, now voice, why does she refer to the voice? When she refers to the voice, meaning she is trying to talk about the women. It is an expression of a woman's desire to get freedom, right? Where she smells the odor of leaves and lichens, and this smell reaches her just as she hears a voice from the other rooms, from the rooms of her house. Whose voice she hears? She hears the voice of the women. Which women? The women who have been confined into the four walls of the houses. She hears the voices of those women who have been confined into the four walls of the house. They don't have the freedom to go out, but they are struggling. They are making all possible efforts to move out of those four walls, or to move out in the society with full freedom and enjoy their life and live a meaningful life to the fullest. I hope each and every line is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
If there is any, please you can ask me. All right. Okay. Now here is a brief synopsis. Yes, Anmol, please read.
The poet says that she sits inside her house in the veranda and keeps the door open. She is writing long letters but hardly mentions that the leaves are leaving the confines of her house and moving out to the empty forest. She finds the night clear with a clear sky as the full moon is shining in the sky. She can smell the odor of the leaves and lichens. The smell reaches her like a voice reaches the inside the house. The voice here depicts an expression of a desire for freedom from the confines of the four walls of the house. Here the poet refers to the voice of the women for their freedom.
Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, poetic devices here, I have forgotten one poetic device. Anyway, you will just find out which one I have forgotten, right? But otherwise, here it is alliteration, writing long letters. So long letters is alliteration, right? Then leaves and lichen. Do you find any other example of alliteration here?
Ma'am, sky is still.
Where? Oh, yes, sky is still correct. So you can add that also, okay? I cannot add right now. Otherwise, I would have added, but you please mention in your book. Just mark it there. Any other?
Ma'am, forest.
Forest from the house. Right, right. Good. Okay. Then imagery is there. Night is fresh. So we visualize the clear night. The whole moon shines in a sky still open. Again, we can visualize in our mind the full moon shining, right? Now there is one more poetic device which I have forgotten here. What is that? Just read carefully and tell me.
Ma'am, in last line still reaches like a voice into the room.
Right, right. Which device is this?
Ma'am, personification.
No, not personification. See carefully. It's very simple. Yes. It's simile.
Oh, okay.
Right, like a voice.
Yes, ma'am.
Comparison, right? Smell is reaching like the voice is reaching. Right? Smell of leaves is reaching like a voice is reaching. Smell is not person, but it has been compared with a person's voice. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So please add that also, okay? Yes. Shall we go to the next?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now this is the last and the fourth stanza. My head is full of whispers, which tomorrow will be silent. Listen, the glass is breaking. The trees are stumbling forward into the night. Winds rush to meet them. The moon is broken like a mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown of the tallest oak. Yes, here in this stanza, now the poet calls the readers. The poet draws the reader's full attention because the poet says, listen. So the poet wants the participation of the readers. Listen. You will listen and you will feel. What? The poet says, my head is full of whispers. Whispers are the low sounds. Now, whose sound could be that? The sound of leaves and lichens. Sound of leaves and lichens when they are making an effort to move. Have you ever noticed their movement? It's very hot. You will find the plants very still. And you know, Anmol, you just experiment this, you try this, you will feel yourself that the moment a little water you pour into the pot, you will feel, you will observe the movement of the leaves, instant movement of the leaves. Because they get water, they were thirsty, they get water, and they are happy. They will start moving, they would start swaying. And when they sway, a very low sound they make, which you can hear only if you completely focus on that. If you love plants, you will do this. You just do this, you will really enjoy doing it, right? My head is full of whispers. The poet says that the poet could hear the sound of leaves and the lichens when they are trying to leave her house, when they are trying to move out of the confines of the house, when they are trying to move out to reach the empty forest. The empty forest which is treeless, but once they move out from the interiors and they go to the forest would be full of plantation and trees, right? My head is full of whispers, which tomorrow will be silent. Now tomorrow, the next day, the poet says, today it's noisy. I can hear the sounds, but tomorrow my house would be silent. Tomorrow there would be silence. Why do you think there would be complete silence the next day? Yes.
Ma'am, no, ma'am, because of no sounds of leaves of tree.
Okay, why there would be no sound of the leaves and the trees?
Ma'am, because we will plant the trees into the forest.
Right, they will move to the forest. They will move to the forest, so there will be no sound of leaves and the lichens. Right? Listen. The poet wants you to listen to the sound of the leaves and the lichens. How? The glass is breaking. The poet says that these leaves try to strain themselves to escape. They are making a rigorous effort to escape from that confinement, to escape from the glass of the window. As a result, the glass is breaking. They would break the glass. They are putting so much strain, so much effort, so much pressure on this that the glass breaks and they move out. As the glass breaks, they move out hurriedly because they have got a passage to escape. What they are doing, the trees are stumbling forward into the night. It's the night time and trees are stumbling forward. The trees are stumbling forward, meaning they are falling upon one another. They are so much in a hurry to move out of the confines that they fall on one another. But they do not wait. They do not wait. They do not slow down. Why? Because they have got a chance to escape. They have got a chance to move out of the confinements. So they are afraid that they would be stuck up there. So they move out. Winds rush to meet them. It seems that the wind is blowing faster. Why? Because when these plants, when these trees, they move out, then they sway. Why they sway? They are happy. They are happy to be in the free environment. Everyone is happy in the free environment, right? But to the trees, to the plants, it seems as if the wind is blowing fast and trying to meet them. The moon is broken like a mirror. The moon, that is in the last stanza you read that it was full moon shining in the sky, right?
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
that it appeared. Now look at these two pictures I'll show you. Look at this picture. This is the whole moon, full moon shining. This is the oak tree. On the top of the tree is the full moon shining. But when these leaves, they move out into the forest, then what happens? You get the image of the moon blurred, isn't it? The image of the moon gets blurred because it is covered by the branches of the tree. Here it is full moon, but here it appears as if the moon is broken like a glass, like a mirror. Right? Have you ever seen a mirror, a broken mirror?
Yes,
A broken mirror has such scratches or such cracks,
yes, ma'am.
right? So here the moon appears like a broken mirror. So when the moon is covered by the branches of the trees, then the poet compares moon with a broken mirror. Its pieces flash now in the crown of the tallest oak. However, the moon looks fragmented in pieces, but it appears as a crown of the oak tree, right? So what here it is that these trees, they have come out of their confinement and they have brought a change in the landscape, right? How? Full moon changed into a fragmented moon, isn't it? So the poet means to say, similarly, when the women come out of their confinements, when they raise their voice, that brings a change in the society. When a woman gets freedom, when the woman comes out of her shells, she plays an important part in the society. And then there is a change in the society, in overall society. You see that how our society is so much changed because of women's participation. What is it the women cannot do? Recently, Commonwealth Games had held. You see so many medals. If the boys have brought, then girls have also brought equally. Isn't it? This is
Yes,
just
ma'am.
an example. This is just an example I'm giving you. So this is what the poet is trying to say, that when the women raise their voice to get their freedom, when the women make an effort, then certainly there would be a change in the society. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you please read this.
In this stanza, the poet listened to the sounds of leaves and lichens of the trees leaving her house. The house would be silent the next day, as there would be no sounds of leaves and the lichens. The trees would move out to the empty forest. Now, the poet can hear the sound of glass breaking. As the glass breaks due to the efforts of the twigs, the trees move in a hurry while falling on each other. The trees feel that the wind is blowing fast and wants to meet them. The tall trees stand straight out in the forest and their branches cover the moon. The moon appears as if it's broken into pieces like a mirror. The moon looks like a crown on the top of the tallest oak tree. The poet wants to say that the forest is full of life now. Similarly, when women raise their voice to get their freedom, this will bring a change in the society.
Is that clear? So you
Yes,
see that the forest that was empty, now The trees and the leaves, they have reached there. So now it is no more empty. Now the forest is full of life, meaning the forest is full of trees. So it's a change in the landscape. It's a change in the forest, right? Similarly, when the women get freedom, they would also bring a change in the society, right? Now I tell you that the poem has a very deep meaning. I have told you only the surface meaning. That is what I think is okay for you in class 10th. But if your teacher tells you something else beyond this, then you must see to that also. And please do share with me, right? But otherwise, the poem has a very deep meaning, which is beyond your understanding. Okay, so according to class 10th level only, I have taken up the meaning of the poem. Otherwise, the poem has a deep insight, right? Like forest is the outside world, trees are the women, and at some places, forest also symbolizes women, etc., etc. Lot many things are there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now the poetic devices here. Simile has been used. The moon is broken like a mirror. Imagery is there. The glass is breaking. You visualize the glass breaking. The trees are stumbling forward. The trees' branches falling one upon another. Right? Otherwise, winds rush to meet them. That is also a beautiful imagery, you can say. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any problem?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so with this poem ends, right? Now let us discuss the question answers. It's fine. There is the question. The other questions are simple. Find in the first stanza 3 things that cannot happen in a treeless forest. You know very well. Birds cannot sit, insects cannot hide, and sun cannot bury its feet. Okay. What picture do these words create in your mind? Sun bury its feet in shadow. Yes. What does the poet mean by sun's feet?
Ma'am, sunlight.
Sunlight, sun rays. Sun bury its feet in shadow, meaning treeless forests do not have the trees that give shadow. So sunlight or sun's rays cannot be covered by the trees. Where are the trees in the poem?
Ma'am, in home.
Inside the poet's house, right? What do their roots, leaves, and their twigs do?
To escape from the house.
Right, they try to escape. Okay. What does the poet compare their branches to?
Newly discharged patients.
Right, correct, very correct. How does the poet describe the moon at the beginning of the 3rd stanza? First it is the full moon in the sky, right? And later on, cracks, right? That is fragmented. इसको कहते हैं fragmented. Fragment क्या होता है? Fragment होता है pieces, right? So it is fragmented form of the moon. How does it happen? It happens because of the leaves and the trees that have escaped from the interiors into the open forest, right? What happens to the house when the trees move out of it?
Ma'am, the house is empty.
The house is empty? No. The house is silent.
Silent.
Right? The house becomes silent. Why do you think the poet does not? Yes, this is important. Actually, I wanted to discuss with you. Why do you think the poet does not mention the departure of the forest from the house in her letters?
Ma'am, because uh, they are humans
Right.
and no concern there, and humans have no concern for trees.
Very good. And humans do not give any importance to the plants, so that's why they would not mention. Right? The rest are the general questions. Fine.